Well, it's Saturday the 16th of July. This is episode 28 of 301 Permanently Moved Online, a personal podcast 301 seconds in length, written, recorded and edited by me, at the JMO. I know that some of you have deduced that I'm writing something about the Metaverse, Dungeons & Dragons and computing. All the world's chat has been extended thinking, sketches, arguments and other ideas. I don't have a title or a strong sense of the text that I'm writing will be yet, but I do have an idea of tone. This week, I've been addressing the prehistory of the Metaverse. I've just finished up researching and writing about the development, cultural impact, and legacy of pinball. Today's episode doesn't fit the tone of the Maybe book, but it's perfect for this podcast. Who or what is a pinball wizard? The phrase began in the 1960s, but was made famous in 1969 by The Who, pinball being the discovered interest of the character Tommy, the main character in their fourth studio album and concept rock opera of the same name. The song was catapulted to new heights by Elton John with his performance in the movie in 1975, released at the height of the so-called pinball craze. He stands like a statue, becomes part of the machine, feeling all the bumpers, always playing clean. Plays by intuition, the digit counters fall. That deaf, dumb and blind kid sure plays a mean pinball. We'll come back to Pete Townsend in a bit, but let's talk about the first line of that second verse of the song. Becomes part of the machine. All four definitions of Donna Haraway's cyborg are useful here, but a hybrid system comprising both living and inanimate material relates to Townsend's lyrics. Haraway tells us that the machine is us, an aspect of our embodiment. Pinball is a mechanical world that can be totally understood. The body of the machine, or the playfield, has its bumpers, bash toys and various lanes that can be completely held in mind. Above the world is the back box. The score lives here, the transcendent glowing consequences of one's actions. Pinball is a wind-up world that you have agency inside, set in motion by firing of the plunger, then influenced by the flipper buttons as the world unfolds. Pinball wizards are cyborgs of the 1970s. They are people who psychically merged with a world inside of a machine. One reading of pinball is that a pinball is you, a perfect sphere, a symbol of human existence, launched by choice into a chaotic environment where you have limited control. Then eventually we all share the same fate. It all goes down the drain in the end. We never see a pinball die though. It merely disappears from sight. The player puts another karmic quarter in the machine and reincarnates. Another spin around the world again. For pinball wizards, consciousness extends beyond their body into the mechanical world of the machine, and pinball is the cyborg's mantra. The mind migrates and merges with the machine for the duration of play. But what's the point of play? What's the win condition? For the duration of a player's mind meld with the machine, they are rewarded with points tallied in bright lights on the back box. The point of pinball is that number goes up. You do things in the world, and that has an effect in the related but abstracted world of the ledger, in the Metaverse, in the neoliberal economy or whatever. The layout of a pinball machine is literally as above, so below. Over the years, I've talked about how software makes you feel, the topology of transcendental objects, about wind-up worlds, and Metaverse as medium. The commonality that all of these topics share is that a world is a place. For the pinball wizard, that place, that Metaverse, is the playfield and the score. The lyrics to The Who's Pinball Wizard are not wrong or metaphorical. The 1960s were a heady time. Townsend was deeply influenced by Meher Baba, who described the phenomenal world as illusory and taught that the universe is pure imagination. God alone exists, and each soul is God passing through imagination in order to realize its own divinity. Tommy, both the concept album and film, are entirely about this. Here's a quote from Townsend speaking to Rolling Stone in 1969. Pinball Wizard is about life's games, playing the machine, the boy and his machine, the disciples with theirs, the scores, results, colours, vibration, and action. Tommy's games aren't games. They're the first real thing he's done in his life. Both Pinball Wizard and I'm Free, he says, are songs about the quiet explosion of divinity. Anyways, a pinball wizard is the name for someone who first touched the Metaverse. These days, however, our consciousness drifts into code spaces, games, worlds, social media all the time. And in those places, number goes up too. It's interesting that 10 years after the height of the pinball craze, another game came along. This game, also easily understood, a world where you have agency. A wide open vessel for the human-machine mind meld. It's also a number goes up game. So effective is this game's ability to contain people's consciousnesses that playing it after experiencing trauma verifiably reduces long-term PTSD. That game, The game for pinball wizards of the digital era is Tetris.